I got out of Chris Nolan's The Odyssey around an hour ago. Man, there were a lot of people there to see it too. Later in the day, I didn't do the IMAX thing because I didn't want to hear people chewing and stuff like that. So I saw it in the regular theater. It was pretty empty, so I was pretty happy about that. Got to just kind of relax, and I got to know if I really enjoyed the movie without hearing other people laugh or scream or enjoy it or hate it or whatever. I just wanted that kind of purist take on it. The previews for it were really awful, so that already gave me a bad gut feeling about it. And I don't know, I was giving it a chance in the first half an hour. You know, Tom Holland was actually not bad. I think in the first kind of half hour, 45 minutes, I was like, I get his character, I get where it's from. He's not overplaying anything, so I appreciated that. Robert Pattinson was actually pretty good with the dialogue they were giving him. I mean, I felt like it didn't feel forced from him. So I'm like, okay, I've never seen this guy actually do a good acting job. So I was very surprised with those two early on. Um, but I just don't know where the money went. Like I thought I thought this was going to be an epic. I was expecting a film that was truly grand in scale. And I just didn't get that vibe. Even the Trojan horse, I was like, I feel like they could have made this much bigger. And I know Christopher Nolan's whole thing is making the fantastical more grounded. You know, that's how his Batman films had so much success. He tried to make Batman Begins more so kind of like as realistic a take as he could on Batman, you know, and he did fantastic with that. And I was just thinking of those films, that Batman Begins, Dark Knight. How did those films have such high tension, such beautiful stylistic visual style? The editing was perfect. The villains really made you feel something. To this, which I felt nothing. I mean, Matt Damon has literally like over 2 hours of screen time. I mean, it's got to be. And you're just like, you don't feel anything with this guy. I mean, maybe Nolan's plan was just to make him one of the soldiers, you know, no, like he's just a man himself. No special treatment, either in the story or whatever to make the audience, feel more aligned with him or whatever. But I mean, he hardly feels like a protagonist. It's just, he's so boring. I've never thought Matt Damon was a good actor to begin with. He was great in the Bourne series because he kind of just played a deadpan killer. But when he actually has to be a leader of men and motivate, there's just nothing there. And maybe that, again, was Nolan's intention. But for me, it was horribly boring. And there's just countless famous actors in this era of Hollywood that are just in the film for no reason. I mean, John Bernthal, you don't even consider him Agamemnon's brother. You're just like, oh, that's just John Bernthal. And they even included some of these side stories that are crucial in the Odyssey, and this is going to be spoiler heavy, just to let you know. But Helen of Troy, her twin sister, when she kills Agamemnon, that is such a cool little storyline. And that was honestly one of the better scenes in the film when you see that. And I was like, okay, I'm glad they included that. And people were complaining about Lupita being Helen of Troy. She's one of the better actresses in the film, at least working with the crap dialogue they gave her, because this is a horribly written film. And some people will be like, dude, that's the story. Yeah, it is the story. But if they're going to modernize it, they should have adapted it much better. I mean, it's just so boring. And maybe that's the actor's fault. Anne Hathaway's just overacting the whole time. And you just don't even care about any of these characters, even the dog, and I'm a big animal guy and I love dogs. But like at a certain point, I just didn't even care about the dog. Like initially I was like, oh, this might be tragic. They're abusing the dog. He puts him outside, but there's like nothing to it. So that when Odysseus returns and finds his dog staying alive, and takes his last breath in front of him, you don't even care. You're just like, is this over yet? You don't even care, which is crazy because that's a deeply emotional part of the Odyssey. And it's like you feel like you've watched a lot of challenges that Odysseus has been through, but it doesn't really immerse you. There are some moments early in the Cyclops cave, which is actually pretty early in the film. And I'm like, wow, if it's going to be like this, that's incredible. Or even when they're sailing on the seas, I thought that was a very cool moment where he's like Poseidon in the sea and Zeus is punishing us from the sky. Something like that, and you just see lightning destroying the ship and Poseidon's storms crushing the ship. I thought that was very cool. But that was it. Like even the Cyclops scene was terrible. And there were so many continuity issues. Like the Cyclops looked big, but he didn't look massive. And then you see him pick up a soldier and the soldier literally looks like a handheld toy, like a Ken doll, right? That he's biting the head off. But in reality, when you see the Cyclops up close, he doesn't really look that big because they're like, they're just as tall as his head, and it just made no sense. There were so many continuity issues, and you see that there's like these soldiers getting killed in bunches. I mean, so many are dead and only a few running back to the boats, and then out of nowhere, they still have like dozens of soldiers. It just made no sense. It's like these soldiers kept reappearing. They did a horrible job of showing you how many men were actually there at once. It almost felt like there was a lot of footage cut out or something. I don't know how a 3-hour film still felt like it needed to do more explaining. And the Lestrygonians are in the film as well, like pretty early on, and there's just nothing to it. Like there's no buildup, there's no tension, and they showed it in the trailer, so you already seen the scene. If you've seen the trailer, you've pretty much seen the film. They show every part of it. They show the Cyclops, they show the Lestrygonians, they show Charybdis, and that's literally all it is in the trailer. You see them steering away from a whirlpool. That's it. That's it. And forgive my spoilers, but this is spoiler heavy. So I did say that. And then Scylla, I was so excited to see how Scylla was going to be. And it's just so dumb. It just peeks out at 6 guys with these weird heads that you barely see and just chilling on the cliffside. And you barely see it. Like you just see guys getting grabbed from the ship. There's nothing terrifying about it. There's nothing to it. And the Cyclops is just eating guys' heads off, and then hurting sheep and closing the rock. It's just so boring. It is so boring. There's nothing to it. And if you think I'm exaggerating or maybe I'm underplaying it, go see it yourself. Maybe you'll love it. Maybe you'll love the adventure of it. But those little continuity issues pissed me off. When they go to Cersei, I thought it was going to become a cool scene. And honestly, whatever actress plays Cersei, I did hear good things about her. And she is one of the better parts of the film just because she plays it with such passion, which I did appreciate. It was actually some real acting as opposed to just Matt Damon doing nothing. Anne Hathaway overacting. We got Tom Holland in there. Zendaya, who was just terrible as Athena. Athena is supposed to be the source of light for Odysseus, asking him these truths about himself. And she's just... it's just so boring, man. She's just a terrible actress, in my opinion. And it was just an upsetting film. It was a waste of 3 hours, in my opinion. And I got baited into it. I saw so many mixed reviews. Guys are loving it. 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. Ton of shills. People calling people shills. So I'm like, you know what? I've seen a lot of hate on the film. And then right when it got released, I saw all this love for the film. And then I saw hate on the love for the film. So I'm like, you know what? Let me make my own decision. And it is truly one of the worst films you'll ever see. Just in my personal opinion, if you admire a story well told, you admire good acting that really makes you feel something, you won't feel anything for this. Each character just is a mess. There's nothing to it. And the whole climax takes forever with Odysseus back at home and he's just being the beggar, and it just goes on and on and on, and it is so boring. I started nodding off a little bit towards the end because I was so tired of sitting there watching this nonsense. And there was nothing to it. Charlize Theron as Calypso was probably one of the better characters, but then they had Odysseus eating the lotus. They skipped the lotus eater. They skipped a lot of things that could have been very cool and poignant towards the end. And it just sucked, man. So Chris Nolan's The Odyssey, I would literally give it a 2 out of 10. Like, that's the number that popped in my head. 2 out of 10. And I would never see it again. It is an atrocious take on the original tale. And the 90s one is better. At least in the 90s one, they showed Charybdis with teeth and Scylla looked great. And, they didn't shortcut anything. I mean, this one is just a mess. And the whole film, they're just like, look, Matt Damon got in really good shape for this film, so maybe you'll consider him a great actor. No, the acting was awful. Terrible, terrible movie.